Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I want to say thank you for the opportunity to present in this event. I appreciate it very much. Second of all, I also want to express my gratitude for the Roberto Franceschi Foundation, because without the funding support, this research will not ever be possible to be materialized. So today I will be talking about a specific religious practice that is common among Muslim women, which is the practice of religious veil, which is the head covering that is common among Muslim women all over the world. Now, I want to start from the conventional wisdom or the general views of this practice, especially in the West. Commonly, it boils down into two things. First, usually it's seen as a symbol of subjugation and oppression of women, or usually it's seen as a symbol of religious fundamentalism. Today, through this research, I try to attempt to offer an alternative explanation, to see that this headscarf is simply actually a portable seclusion or a device that is used by Muslim women so that they can leave their home to work or to study or to integrate themselves in public space in general, but at the same time they want to avoid the stigma from their society. In particular, I want to show you that the increasing number of women wearing the veil might be explained by the improvement in economic opportunities for women. So the logic is the following. So if there is economic opportunity that are there that was not there before, there will be more incentive for women to go out from their home to study, to get the opportunity to get the benefit from this economic opportunity, and therefore they want to go out of their home. But since they live in a conservative society, they is going to wear the veil to convince their society that, look, I'm still adhering to the social norms, to the social values, but just let me work and do my business outside the home. So this idea might sound crazy at the moment, but to convince you that this idea is not completely crazy, so I'll take another 2 surveys done by other organizations to see whether this idea is supported or is completely out of reality. So the first survey that I'm using is a survey by Jakpat Pol. It's a local survey institute who conducted a survey in 2016, and they asked whether the female respondent in their survey are wearing headscarf or not. And according to the survey, 71.4%, this is in 2016 in Indonesia, of the female respondents wear religious headscarf. And what is interesting here is that this happens across all education category. And if you see, actually, the category of graduate female respondent has a higher percentage of headscarf. So they also ask the reason of why you are wearing a religious headscarf. Interestingly though, contrary to our understanding or conventional wisdom, the majority of respondents actually ask that they're using it because of their own willingness, not because of requested by parents or requested by their spouse or following the trend or other religious reasons such as commanded by the Quran or the fear of God punishments. This data is taken from Pew Research Survey. It's a US-based, internationally renowned for a survey. So what I'm doing here is I divide the respondents into 2 groups, the group without veil and the group with veil. And then I look at the characteristic of these respondents. So what you can see here, these 2 groups are very similar to each other, veil and without the veil. Only these 2 characteristics, they differ significantly. So what is interesting, if you can see here, is that the group with veil are less likely to be married, and they have, in average, higher education level. And if you see, this relationship also hold even stronger if you restrict the respondents into a younger group of respondent which has less than 30 years old. Next, since both survey also ask about education, we can check whether the group of respondents with a veil is more educated or less educated. So what I'm doing here is I'm running a logit regression on education, and so this is the probability of the respondents wearing the veil. And what you can see here is both survey confirm that education actually increase the opportunity or the probability of the respondents to wear the veil. This confirm in both age group in both surveys. So finally, the jackpot poll also asked a question on working status. So there are 3 working status: not working, working, or students. So what I'm doing here is just simply doing another logit regression and see that this table shows that the working status of working or students, which means that these respondents are doing something outside of their home, are positively correlated with the probability of wearing the veil. So these are the result that we get from a survey data, which you ask people whether you wear the veil or not. But next I will show you the research in the main analysis, in which I'm using completely different method of gathering the information regarding religious veil, which is, instead of asking whether you are wearing it or not, I look at the picture of the people directly. So if you ask me, so how do you get the picture of these people? So the story was, if you go to Indonesia, in high school office, usually you can find a very big book in which the information of the students, including the name and the birth date, birthplace, and also the photos of the students is attached in the book. So what I did was, I go to school, I borrow the book, and I simply count the number of the student who is wearing and or not wearing the headscarf. So this is an example of the school book. You can see here, this is the information of the student, and this is the photo, and this is a boy, apparently, and this is a girl, and she happens to wear the headscarf. So I collect this data. I mean, obviously not myself, but thanks to the funding support, I can hire a team. They can help me to visit 2 schools in 46 randomly selected districts in the 2 most populous islands in the country. And this is the data that I get after all of the hard work of borrowing and counting the photos. What we can see here is that, so in the y-axis, we can see the proportion of girls wearing a religious headscarf, and this is the year. So what we can see from the 1990s, we can see very few girls wearing headscarf, and then it starts to increase to the current time. Interestingly though, if you compare this number to the previous poll that we get from the survey, the numbers are not very far from each other. So the survey is about 71, and we got here a little bit more than 60%. So it's not completely off. Oops. Okay, so this is the method. So first, I'm doing a vanilla OLS regression of veil, which is the proportion of girls who wearing headscarf in district I at time t, as a function of female-specific job opportunity. But then you would say that, well, female job opportunity probably is endogenous because there are other variables that affect female job opportunity, but at the same time also affecting the veil. So to address this problem, I instrument the female job opportunity, which is the endogenous variable, with the price shock. Since I am running out of time, I just give you like the short intuition. So basically this price shock is the shock in the price commodity that is exported by the country. So the idea was if there is an increase, for instance, in the price of tobacco, this will create a shock for the demand for tobacco industry. And if the tobacco industry want to increase their production, they obviously want to hire more labor. Since tobacco industries are, they hire like a lot of female labor, then we can see that increase in the price will increase the demand for labor force, and in turn will increase the proportion of girls with headscarf, the variable that I show you in the previous slides. So this is the instrument. If you want to discuss it later, we can do that. But for now, let's I'll go through the result. This is just a panel vanilla OLS regression result. As we can see here, female-specific job opportunity has a positive and significant relationship on the proportion of girls with headscarf. And this result is robust to controlling for other variables like the migration, the share of Muslim, the share of people live in urban areas, and other relevant variables. Next, I will show you the instrumental variable regression results. As we can see here, the relationship stays the same. We have a positive and significant relationship between female job opportunity and the proportion of girls with headscarf, and we can also see here that the first stage of the regression, which is the price shock and the female job opportunity, is also positive and significant. If you care about the statistics and stuff, so the F statistics is more than 10, which basically assign that the design of this research is valid. Just to close, I have shown you that other survey has shown that headscarf does not seem to signify low education or low social class. And from the regression that I showed you just now, we can see that increasing economic opportunity caused the number of headscarf, the numbers of women wearing headscarf to increase. And most importantly, if you ask me, why do you care about women with headscarf? I think it's important also both in for policymakers in developed and developing countries, because as we know, recently in many developed countries, policies such as banning the outward sign of religiosity, such as headscarf, is considered as a way to liberate women or to free them from cultural shackles. Well, actually, if this result is correct, then banning the headscarf could actually take away the most important device for these women to integrate themselves in the society. Thank you.